Ooh. Am I the asshole for asking for a morning off from my baby on the weekends? I think I can already tell you how this is going to go. I'm going to guess that this is something like my wife watches the baby all week and I work all week, so I'm tired on Saturday. And let's see how the conversation goes from here. Hey, thank you for the raid. Hold on, I saw it. Zeus 007, a Greek god and also a secret agent. Is there anything they can't do? Enjoy some React Court. We're going to be here for a bit, I think. Oh my God, it's only 12:18. It's been a high resistance stream today. Don't say God of War. Don't say God of War. My wife and I have a 6-month-old baby girl. She's mostly a stay-at-home mom. At age 6? It's ambitious. I know. Listen, I like to call in the ambiguity of the English sentence sometimes. She's mostly a stay-at-home mom. She works 2 half-days a week, and her sister watches the baby. I work full-time and go to school 1 day a week. We've always had an arrangement where she takes care of the household duties while I happily support her monetarily. How honestly, we're both living our dream life, and my wife does an absolutely spectacular job taking care of me and our little one. Okay? Okay. On the weekends, we share baby duty. We usually make sure each of us gets our own alone time to do whatever we want. However, our girl has hit a bit of a sleep regression, waking up every 2 hours since my wife breastfeeds. She's always taking care of the baby full-time overnight. She's a light sleeper and unfortunately has insomnia, whereas I am a deep sleeper and wouldn't wake up for baby cries anyways. Okay, I see that this is getting worse. I'm scared about how this is going to go. Recently, my wife has been asking me to wake up with the baby both days on the weekends so she can get an extra hour of sleep. Baby wakes up around 7 a.m. I get the baby dressed and take over for that hour, but sometimes I want to be the one who gets to sleep in an extra hour. I brought this up to her, and she says while she's happy to let me nap during the day, she really needs that hour because she can't nap like I can. Okay, so far, this is a couple that is having a disagreement and are handling it amicably. We got into an argument about it, saying I'm being very insensitive. I know she's exhausted and can't nap during the day, and she struggles getting back to sleep every time the baby wakes up, but I'm exhausted too. Work wears me out and school days are long. Sometimes want that extra hour in the morning. I don't want to spend my time off napping. I want to play video games and chill out. I've gotten mixed opinions on who is in the wrong here, or if there is even anyone in the wrong. Am I the asshole for asking us to share mornings off for sleep? Listen, you guys were like 45, 55 until you said, I don't want to use my time off to sleep. I want to play video games. It's not because video games are not a worthwhile hobby or pursuit. It's just that your sleep and your spouse's sleep take precedent on it when you have a baby. If you want to stay up and play video games as the dad, and I don't do this because I respect my body and my psyche. If you want to play video games as the dad, then when you put the baby to sleep at night, maybe it's 8, maybe it's 9, you play the fucking games until 2 a.m. and then you wake up at 6:30 to go to work in the morning. You sacrifice on your own end you rob your own Peter to pay your own Paul. You don't rob anybody else's bucket to give yourself the video game time. You rob your own bucket wherever you can. If you think you desperately need the alone time for whatever, it could be reading a book, it could be playing video games, it could be, whatever, something leisurely. Then, if you guys are both under control, if you're both cool, sure, take an hour here or there. If you're both, like, first 6 months is fucking shit, it's Juno Beach, right? Like, you gotta start with the foundation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is everyone eating? Is everyone drinking enough water? Is everyone getting sleep? Then you don't worry about self-actualization until, maybe when she's like a year and a half, you can start to get back to that. So yeah, like, he is the asshole though. Like, I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. Here's a little secret about having kids, and I only have one, right? Like, that's, we're still in the tutorial. But like, fucking, you're tired. She's tired. Guess what? Fucking everyone's tired. Get up, go to work, Look after your kid while you're tired. Cook them some like grilled cheese while they're tired. You cook, oh, I can't keep my eyes open any fucking longer. Give them the grilled cheese. They throw the fucking grilled cheese across the room. You pick it up. You're tired. It left a little grease on the floor. You go get a paper towel and buff it out when you're fucking tired. Like you're tired like a lot. So you should be handling, you and your spouse need to look after each other. You're not allied against the baby, but you have to make sure that you're like rock climbers. One of you is climbing and one of you is belaying, So like when one person's climbing, every once in a while the belayer should be like, "Hey, you good up there? You need me to take some of the resistance for you?" It shouldn't be like once the person climbs the mountain and they're like, "Okay, your turn." You're like, "Actually, I just want to eat a snack down here. Sorry, your ass was belaying while I was climbing. Now your ass has got to climb while I belay, okay?" It's a team game. So I don't think he's not like an asshole. Like he didn't threaten violence against anybody, but it's just like, everybody's tired. That's the, you think listen, I have an easy job, especially physically speaking, but I'm a little tired after work sometimes. Looking after the baby is like 10 times more tiring. Like I think most of the time if you work a physical job is maybe different. But if you work like a white collar job, the person doing the stay-at-home duties, whether it's a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, is probably more exhausted than you. Because you get to talk to adults all day, and they have to debug like a machine that only makes one noise. And if they make a mistake, shit could go real wrong, like real quick. So anyway, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make it a contest. I'm just saying you have to make each other a higher priority than playing the video games. Now, our kid is 2. There's some times where I go to Kate and I'm like, usually it would be like a Friday night or a Saturday night. I'll be like, "Hey, just so you know, I would really love to have just like an hour off. If you could handle her nap tomorrow so I could just do whatever I want for an hour, that would be great." And she says, "Okay." And then 45 minutes into the hour starts and I'm like, "What am I going to do with all this free time?" And then I do nothing. And after 35 minutes, I'm like, I guess I'll just help out because I don't know, it's completely destroyed my abilities to have any hobbies. I might as well just, fill up the family bucket a little bit more. And Kate will do the same thing to me. She'll be like, I have this like a Japanese lesson. Can you watch her for 2 hours? And I'm like, absolutely, no problem. But at 6 months, you're in the shit, dude. You're in Charlie company, man. You don't get to take a day off when you're behind enemy lines. You kind of just gotta suck it up. I know you want to play God. You see the damage that God of War is doing to families across North America right now? On the one hand, I have a 6-month-old infant, and both me and my spouse are tired and stressed out. On the other hand, it has a 94 Metascore right now, and I don't want to miss the discourse. I don't want to miss the discourse. You're the asshole. If she's taking all the night duty because you don't wake up, then you get the morning duty when you do wake up so she can catch up on her lost sleep in the night. You want a morning off? Give her a night off. It's so simple when you put it that way. You're the asshole. You don't think she wants to just chill out and do something on her own time? She's working too by not just going to work, but also taking care of the baby. The least you could do is give her some time to sleep in. That's the other thing. I know I'm in danger of being too based, but being a stay-at-home parent is a job, and you get paid for it. The way you get paid is by not having to pay for daycare, and that shit sometimes pays very well. We have daycare 4 days a week for a month, and that shit is $1,400 a month, something like that. And we live in a province and a country where there's rebates on that. So we're actually paying below market rate for daycare. So if you're paying, if you're a stay-at-home parent, even in our situation, that you're making $1,400 a month just by looking after the kid. And that's only for 4 days. Add in a fifth day, I don't know, you'd be looking at like almost $2,000 a month, and that's after the rebates. So I don't even know if the government didn't like subsidize it, probably no kids would be in daycare because the shit would be like $3,500 a month. Hey, Vookie, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you. Don't even get me started on that 6th day. You mean the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? I haven't seen that one yet, but I did only see Total Recall. Or I did just see Total Recall. 2K is still only like a $35,000 salary. Okay, but like you don't understand. You got to evaluate versus your counterfactuals. Somebody's got to look after the kid. You're either getting daycare or you got like a family member, which would be amazing, or you leave your 6-month-old at home and you go out to work for. You're like, sorry, the opportunity cost of doing this is simply too great. I could save $35,000 on daycare, but this job pays me $80,000. What do you think the odds are they'd be okay if I just left them in the crib from 8:30 a.m. until 5? They'd probably be fine, right? Yeah, plus it's tax-free, kind of. Listen, we don't need to get into it, but you're the ass? Okay, yes. Unless you're going to offer to take over the feeding through formula, the only time she gets a break if baby is sleeping or if she's off to work. That's definitely also, I didn't even mention that. But like, as a dad, I don't want to say you got it easy in the first year, because like nobody's got it easy. But like, the mom has no choice. If she's breastfeeding, if the baby's hungry, she's on the damn clock. So it's kind of, and it, I didn't learn this like day one, but it's pretty much your responsibility to do like everything else. Because there's like a ton of stuff that is being done every day that you literally can't do. So like if you see something that needs to be done, it kind of falls on you to do it. Plus, like, listen, your kid is 6 months old. When our kid was 6 months old, look, there's a lot of work. But when she is like, she's not even really like crawling around that much. You just put her in like the baby bouncer and give her like a rattle. You can play Rocket League or something like that. Like just chill out. You wait, and listen, it's easier to parent like a 2-year-old than a 6-month-old. Don't get me wrong, because I can actually like ask my child what's wrong. And like it doesn't mean that it's like what's wrong? I'm hungry. Here's some food you like. Thank you, Daddy. Like it becomes more of like a Clarice versus Hannibal Lecter type thing sometimes. I was driving my daughter home from daycare yesterday. She tried to get fucking Scarlet Witch into my brain. Just driving her home yesterday. She says, Daddy, you are not a good driver. I was just safely driving home, minding my own business, and like just catching a heater for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I don't know what you wanted me to do. Be like, skirt. There's sometimes, you know what it is sometimes because we live in a city, there's traffic, and when she wants to go home and have like a chocolate egg, she's like, Daddy, drive faster. And I'm like, look at you can't fucking drive faster. There's cars in front of me. Anyway. But if you think it's exhausting at 6 months, wait till she's 2. And it might even get harder from then. Wait till she's 2 and she's running around and she's jumping. And then you're like, don't do that. You're going to fall. And then she falls and she's like, ah. And you're like, I told you. And then you're like, here's a Band-Aid. And she's like, thank you, Daddy. And you're like, oh, so sweet. And then she's like, I want another Band-Aid. And I'm like, I already put a Band-Aid on your boo-boo. And she's like, I got another boo-boo. And I'm like, okay, where's your other boo-boo? And she's like, it's on my knee. And I'm like, I roll up her pants and I'm like, right here. And I'm like, there's no fucking boo-boo there. And she's like, I want a Band-Aid. And I'm like, okay, here's all the Band. We were spending like $25 a month on Band-Aids just to placate her. You think it's exhausting at 6 months? Get ready. Like it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't get easier, but you're not stopping the hustle anytime soon. Wait until instead of just taking the baby for a walk while they're in the stroller, your outside baby duty is taking them to the park and then being in this position, squatted on your heels in the sandbox, going, "Oh yeah, what are you doing? Oh really? Oh, you're making like a sand fish. Okay, wow, that's cool. Wait until you're doing that for 2 hours every Saturday and Sunday. Walking up to other parents. I think your little one there has our shovel. Can we get that back? Anyway, well, you lean. I'm not resenting it. I love it and I volunteer for it. That being said, I'm just saying, like, welcome to the fucking show, brother. You want to play some video games? But you want to start building a list? You can pencil some in maybe 2026, something like that. Better, they're not closing up the Disney Vault anytime soon. Or you could just become a streamer, I guess. But anyway, you could just make it your job and then just scroll Reddit all day. Or you can play Marvel. You can play like 2 games of Marvel Snap before she notices you're neglecting her. Sure. It's called self-care. Anyway, just imagine the payoff when 2026 comes around. No, but then that's the thing. And I've seen this from dads of older kids. They'll make posts that are like, when I had no free time, all I wanted to do was have free time. Now my kid is like 12 and I don't know what to do with myself. And that's why you end up with like dads who are just like, I'm just going to like be on the couch. They don't even have the TV on. They're just sitting there like, my dad, when he wants to buy something, it doesn't have to be like a car. When he wants to buy like a chair, he does like 100 hours of research. Looks at every morning he goes to Wayfair, IKEA, Amazon, driving around to like local hardware stores. What are the reviews on this chair? What kind of wood is this chair made out of? But then there's a new chair sale coming in August. I just want to wait and see what the chair is like. That's what you got to do. You go through this period where you have like a lot of free time. As a teenager and a young adult, I had a staggering amount of free time. You become like no offense, but like a real adult. More and more responsibilities fall on you, to maintain your household and, go see family and stuff. Like when you're like 20 and they're like, oh, can you visit grandma? You're like, no, fuck her. And then when you're like 25, you're like, okay, let's visit grandma. Like, I'm part of the family. You reintroduce yourself into the fold and your free time gradually declines. And then when you become, a parent, it goes to like 0. But I'm not sure if you ever, I think it's probably a struggle on the other side when your free time starts coming back to figure out before, when you had so much free time, you're like, oh, I'm so busy. I think as your responsibilities recede a little bit, you're probably like, what the hell do I do to fill this hole? I guess you volunteer or play golf or something like that. But anyway, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Marvel Snap. Yeah, Marvel Snap. I needed nighttime support from my partner when my child was a newborn. He didn't take it serious, and it took more effort for me to wake him up to help him than it was to just do it myself. I stopped feeling like a human. The resentment never went away. We divorced when the kid is 2. Owned, honestly. Well, our kid is not 3 yet, but we're going to beat you. Sorry. Skill difference. We don't know. This could be made up. It's all creative writing. Let me get the humor in while it lasts, okay? I also feel like you got to know your spouse. Like Kate and I have not a dilemma. A balance is actually the word I'm looking for. Kate needs sleep. That's like the number one thing she needs. And everybody needs it, but that's like her highest tier requirement on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For me, it's like number 2. I mean, as long as we're ignoring like oxygen. For me, number 1 is food, for sure. Like if I'm hungry, it's just the countdown till like I say something I regret, which is why I eat all day, pretty much continuously. So we have a balance in that where like If the baby wakes up during the night or if she's having a hard time getting to sleep, usually, not always, but usually I am the person who volunteers and is like, oh, she woke up crying 2 times last night at like 2 and 5. I'll go in, I'll put her back to sleep, and then I'll like sleep on the ground next to her for a little bit. No problem. But then the caveat there is if I'm ever like, it's time for lunch, she doesn't get to say, now let's just wait 30 minutes. That's, we were waiting for 30 minutes for the last 30 minutes. You just didn't know. So we got to get that lunch ASAP. In order to keep, it's like when your car says it's running out of gas, you don't go, just hold on a bit. You say, Siri, where's the closest gas station, right? And it works that way. Or it works for us that way. Yeah, I've been waiting for lunch since before I had breakfast. Right after I eat breakfast, I'm like, man, I start daydreaming about what I'm going to have for lunch. Even if I know I'm just going to have a ham sandwich, it's the quantum superposition of lunch that maybe I'm not going to have a ham sandwich. Maybe I'm going to have some pizza. Maybe I'm going to have some poke. Maybe I'm going to have a samosa. I don't even know. Maybe I'm going to have some dosa. I don't know. And then I'm like, I'll just make a ham sandwich. It's quick. But then I'm like, oh, for dinner, maybe I'll have some Korean fried chicken. Maybe I'll have some pho. Maybe I'll have some, you get the idea. Maybe I'll have some crudité. Rip OP. You're going to be buried in the You're the Asshole judgments here. She works PT, takes care of the baby, has to do all the housework, has to do all the night feedings, can't sleep, but sure, you'd like an hour. You are out of the house all week and you do what? Spend 1 hour a day helping to take care of your kid and you would like more time to play games? You have no idea what her day looks like, do you? Take 3 days off and send her on a mini vacay to sleep somewhere and see all the stuff that she does on a daily basis on repeat. True? Yeah, true. For sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's completely understood. I can put myself in the dude's shoes. Like a year ago, you were playing video games like crazy because your wife was pregnant and she probably didn't like the way you smelled, even though you smelled the same way you always smell. It just does something to the olfactory system in some women, right? So you were like, man, look at all this free time I got to play video games. And then like a year later, that shit goes from like 10 to 0. And you're like, I'd really like to have some recreation time. So would everybody, is the thing. You gotta, it's not, I don't think he's doing like a bad, it's human. But what you do is you go in the group chat and you go, oh, I wish I had more time. You don't go to your spouse and be like, sorry, honey, could you like be better at napping? Like, anyway. There's a lot of asshole posts this week. It's kind of a juicy week. Am I the asshole for calling my sister selfish for announcing her pregnancy at our parents' house? My husband and I have been having a long struggle with infertility. We have been getting treated and trying for a baby since 2017, but nothing worked. My husband is understandably devastated, as he'd always wanted kids but never got the chance to be a father. Okay, that's fair. That's fair and hard. But he's super sensitive around the infertility topic. This, my family knows. Days ago, we got together with family for dinner. All of a sudden, my sister and her husband announced that they were expecting. We were stunned, me and my husband, I mean. As for the others, they were thrilled. As everyone got up to congratulate them, my husband got up, pushed his chair to the side, and walked out. They all stared at me, but I got up and told my sister she messed up by announcing her pregnancy like this, and with zero consideration for my husband knowing how he feels about this topic. She got defensive, saying his issues with the topic. Listen! I don't know. To be honest, I know I haven't read the rest of the post. I know everybody in chat saying you're the asshole. If the sister knew that the husband was really beaten up over this, I'm not saying it is not within her purview to announce it at a family dinner, but like, she could have been more sensitive about it. That's it. I'm not saying that it was like a intentional moment of weakness, but it's something that people are very sensitive about, justifiably. Like, I honestly didn't know. I know it sounds naive, but like the only reason I found out is because like on r/Peloton Cycle, the subreddit for people that are obsessed with riding a stationary bike, A lot of instructors had gotten pregnant, and there were people that were making posts that were like, it's actually like hard for me to do a ride with my favorite instructor because they just keep talking about being pregnant, and it brings up these issues that I have had with this stuff in my life. And I'm like, okay. I honestly would just naively never knew that it was that common or that big of an issue, but obviously it makes sense. That being said, just because something makes you feel sad, that doesn't mean someone behaving normally was an asshole about it. All I would say on this one, I'm not, maybe it's a nobody sucks here actually. Maybe, well, but then listen. I'm slurping. Yeah, I mean, you put yourself in the sister's shoes and you're like, well, I just announced that we're having like the happiest day of our life. And then like immediately after I got yelled at by my family. So that does suck. That's something that maybe it would have been nice to put in like the group chat afterwards. But still, you know, I kind of feel like this is just like a life sucks and you're doing your best. I don't know if we have an acronym for that. This seems like a life sucks and you're doing your best, but sometimes feelings get hurt situation. That's my take on it. And it's too it's too spicy. I don't want to keep it up. This dude needs to do ketamine nasal spray. Chib, what are you Ketamine, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. You can't solve all your problems with ketamine nasal spray, okay? There's some things you need to microdose psychedelics to get over, okay? Am I the asshole for expecting my girlfriend to cancel her plans for me? Can I say, without being an asshole myself, it depends what the plans are. If her plans were to play video games and your plan was to look after the baby, then I'm just saying, if you reverse the roles, then I mean, I know how this sounds, but like to put it in the most trite way possible, if her plans are shitty, then no, that doesn't make you the asshole. If her plan was to go grocery shopping and you got her like a reservation at a fancy restaurant, then she should cancel. Unless she's a picky eater, and then I don't even know what we're gonna get lost in the weeds. But my girlfriend is super into hiking, and we planned a trip to Cali that involved a hike in the Grand Canyon she'd always wanted to do. We did a hike the day before that was too intense for me, and I'm not as fit as her. I finished it, but I couldn't go on the other hike, aka her dream hike. It was also not meant to be done in one day, and the ranger said it was hard to do in one day and not advised. Okay, now this shit happens. If you're going to go on a big hike on day 2, maybe chill out on day 1. Like, you shouldn't follow up like a 8-hour walk with like a 16-hour walk. That's just poor planning on your part. Like, I get it that she loves hiking, but maybe like couldn't you have just gone to like the Gaslamp district or something like that? I don't know where the Grand Canyon is. It's in Arizona, right? Maybe it's grand. It might cross into California. Don't say this B word needs a different hobby. It's her hobby. It's I don't know if you say why it bothers you. Hey, Cetra13, thanks for the gifted subscriptions as well. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, she said she was confident she could do it, saying she had hiked harder and she's very fit, but I just felt like she was discounting what the ranger said. I said I wasn't going and she would go alone, and I asked her to wait till tomorrow for me to recover. She said the weather reported a 30% chance of rain for tomorrow, and she wasn't going to give up on a bucket list hike if I still wanted to do it tomorrow. She would do it again with me. Holy cow, your girlfriend is like an Olympian, man. She's going to do a hike that nearly killed you, a harder hike the next day, and if you still want to go on day 3, she'll go again. She might be like the best hiker in the world. Also, I know I've had this take before. I'm not saying that hiking is bad. I am just saying I don't get it. Like, isn't it literally just walking? Or is it like 90% walking, 10% mountain climbing? It's walking uphill. Oh, so like walking up Oak Street in Vancouver? And then at the top, you take a very pretty photo. I'm not knocking the pretty photo. Is walking on hard mode. Could you do it in Vezies? If you fell when you were hiking, would you die? Would you fall down the mountain? Or would you just like get a bump on your knee? Sometimes, bro, fuck hiking. Life's hard enough, man. Depends on the trail. There's damn trails out there where if you fall, you die. That shit is crazy, man. 127 hours? I thought that dude was like free solo or something. I didn't know he was just walking up the grouse grind. It could happen to anybody. I honestly thought hikes were like 2 to 3 hours long. I didn't know it was like it's, how can you have a hike that you can't do in one day? You camp? What the hell? Isn't this shit heavy? I think I'm slowly reverse engineering why camping is hard. Yeah, it's heavy. You got to carry a lot of stuff. Well, if you went on a shorter hike, you wouldn't have to carry so much, so you could go further, right? But then you would need more stuff, but then it would be harder to carry, so you'd have to. Okay, all right. I think I'm starting to get it. There must be like a happy medium somewhere. I mean, it sounds fun. I do like walking. I walk a lot. I'm on the weekends I get like maybe 13,000 to 20,000 steps. Some of them are uphill. But then I come back and some of them are down. I guess with hiking, some of them are downhill as well. It's not like, unless it's a one-way trip. Anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of losing it. I did a 5-day hike this summer. What do you mean? 5 days? You walked for 5 days? I didn't know this existed. With God as my, that's backpack. I thought backpacking is when you have like 5 pairs of underwear and a shirt in your backpack and you travel through Europe, through the Schengen states. There's a different kind of backpack. This is crazy, man. I didn't grow up in BC. So like, that's why I lose it every time I go to Mech and they're like, hey, we got a sale on ice axes today. And I'm like, no, thanks. I'm not like, I don't have a death wish. You think I'm going to go climb a glacier? Are you crazy? You're being exhausting. I'm just simply begging the question. But like you walked for 5 days? Like you slept, woke up, walked, slept? I think I could get into hiking. I think I could get into waking up early, taking a hike that is like a 2-hour summit and an hour and 15 minutes down, and then having like a 2-pint lunch. Getting back into the city in time for lunch. And I think those 2 pints would be hitting, man. Holy cow. I don't think I could do the sleep and then wake up and walk again, though. Or I mean, I couldn't do it right now, but maybe with some practice. I'm not that interested, I guess. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, yeah, where were we? I got mad because I felt like she was okay with abandoning me with nothing to do at her campsite, and I didn't want to. Oh, well, this is another element. I thought they were in like an Airbnb, and then they were going out hiking every day. Now I realize they're living in the damn woods. Listen, I think the guy is being a little selfish, but at the same time, I'm also like, man, I can't hike tomorrow. My girlfriend's just going to leave me in the woods staring at a tree for like 16 hours. Like, that's pretty, I don't know if you got like a phone charger or something, or even if they got a signal or something out there. That is crazy, man. Enjoy the outdoors. But he can't walk. What can he do in the outdoors if he's not walking? Roll? Anyway, she finished it the next day. And I felt like she didn't care that I was too tired to hike and chose to go without me. To me, the people are more important than the activities, but to her, she definitely wanted to finish the hike at all costs. Well, it sounded like you took your girlfriend on a hiking trip and then kind of like just OD'd on it. I'm going to be honest, this seems like something you need to train. If she's this into hiking, you got to like be there for her, or like you guys, I'm not saying you should break up because you don't hike, but like if this is a huge part of her life, it seems like she's really into it. I mean, she did 3 crazy hikes in 3 days. You didn't take it seriously enough. If her username is like I love hiking, then you got to either join her halfway there, or you got to, let her find like her own free solo type dude that they can hike together. Skill diff. No, not ketamine nasal spray. Take a hike or take a hike. Absolutely true. Yeah, I don't think you can complain that she went without you. But at the same time, I am kind of putting myself in the dude's shoes. And I'm like, man, I'm just sitting in the damn tent for 16 hours a day. I know it's just different strokes for different folks. Because I saw someone say like, oh, I don't know, read a book, meditate. That shit sounds like annoying. I can do a shavasana for like a minute. But around like 50 seconds in, I start thinking about all this shit I got to do that day. I'm not meditating for 16 hours. Who am I? Like am I Buddha himself? What about Meditations by Marcus Aurelius? I mean, that shit is like 45 minutes long. It's like 30 pages. I'll just be eating s'mores all day. I don't know. That shit sounds boring. I don't think she's in the wrong at all. Imagine your boyfriend is like, hey, I got you this cool hiking trip. It's on your bucket list. And then on like day 2, he's like, could you just not do that? Like, that doesn't make any damn sense. I don't think it's like in everybody's. I think the guy, I guess he's an asshole. He's an asshole because his feelings are hurt that his girlfriend's in better shape. You went on a trip. It's just weird, right? You went on a trip to do this hike, and then you were like, oh, she did the hike. I don't get it. You went on a trip to go on this specific hike, and only the day before realized you're not fit enough to go on said hike, and you really expected her to abandon her dream now that it was right there in front of her? You're the asshole. Yeah, but like soft, you're the asshole. You're the asshole for the way you worded everything. You didn't seem at all to be bothered about the danger of her going alone. Well, me neither. Have you read the post? He doesn't have the means to protect her. She's got to protect him. His ass is woefully unprepared to be on the voyage, and she's like raring to go. This is toxic masculinity. She's going to have to cover his ass. Also, it sounds like you're just upset she didn't give in when you were immature and refused to talk to her. Yes. Yeah, sure. Maybe. I don't know. You're incredibly selfish? Listen, I don't know if I go that far, but like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. By the way, her plans were not going to the grocery store. Her plans were going on a once-in-a-lifetime 16-hour-long hike. So I think that he is the asshole for expecting his girlfriend to cancel her plans. And it was on her bucket list. Oh, here we go. Am I the asshole for starting an argument because my boyfriend boarded a plane before me? What? How dare you board planes before me, baby? Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know it was your turn. This, Chib, I'll give you this one. This might be one might be one for ketamine. By the way, I've never done ketamine. I don't even know. It's a tranquilizer. That's all I know about it. Is that the one where you take it and it feels like you live a lifetime, but actually in real time, like only a minute has gone by? No. All right. That's salvia. That's a Black Mirror episode. My boyfriend and I traveled by plane to go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. We checked in together and had different boarding groups. He was group 1 since he is active duty military. I was group 3 for being a platinum hold carder on the airline. And our budget is $1.2 million and we're looking to buy a house. This is significant since both groups are considered priority boarding. Okay, have you followed this so far? We are both under the impression that boarding groups do not necessarily matter. We're seasoned travelers, very efficient when boarding planes, very normal, I assure you. And the only thing that does matter is that we're on the plane before the main... It doesn't matter who's better than... If I'm better than her, or if he's better than me. The only thing that matters is that we're better than everybody else, okay? Which are the people who do not travel often and are generally slower when boarding planes. Just say it, asshole. You don't like to pay the checked bag fee, so you get a priority boarding pass with your platinum fucking card, and then you fill up all the overhead bins with your bags that should have been checked in the first place, and then all the plebs flying coach are walking into an empty cabin, and yet all the overhead storage bins are completely full, and you're like, there's one person sitting here, why are there 7 suitcases in the overhead bin? And then they're like, sir, don't worry, I can take that and check that for you. And I'm like, yeah, no problem, it's just got my laptop, my camera, and my phone in it. Go ahead. Then the bottom of the plane going, shit is like just pure silicone vapor by the time I open the bag. Anyway, when the plane started boarding, they obviously called Group 1 first, the group for active duty military and unaccompanied minors. My boyfriend gets up and boards without me. I was annoyed since Groups 1 and 2 are both super small, and Group 3, my group, usually gets called super fast, if not combined with Group 2. Do you want to marry an airport? Why is this shit so specific? They're so fixated on the damn details of the boarding groups. Don't even listen. I'm pro boarding groups. The only problem is like when your ass is in like Group 5 and then they call Group 1 and everybody in Group 5 starts lining up as if like they're gonna get to us any minute. Nah, man. That shit is like 40 minutes away. Then people like, they go to the bathroom, they come out, they see nobody in line, and they're like, oh, give them my boarding pass. You can just see the conversation. The gate agent is like, sir, you're in Group 5. We haven't called you yet. What group did you just call? Group 2. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, thanks for delaying 200 people for 90 seconds because of your negligence. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. If everybody did it, we'd be 6 hours late, but it's not a big deal. Have some responsibility. This is why society's so fucked up. Anyway, sorry. After my group gets called, literally less than 5 minutes later, and I get on the plane, I told him he could have waited for my group to get called. We could have boarded together. He told me it wasn't a big deal. And I said it was, since we were traveling together. He'd never done that before. Why would he do it randomly now when he didn't have a reason besides it's for me? Why wouldn't I use that group, even though my group is still considered priority boarding? We got into a mild argument about it on the plane. Nothing huge since we were well on a plane. He thinks I'm being an asshole for starting an argument about and being upset about him boarding before me, but I think it's justified since he'd never done it before and he didn't say anything prior. This isn't a new thing where he just joined the military. He's been AD for 8 years. Isn't that like he's playing League of Legends? He's on the U.S. Army League of Legends team. This is who asked to the extreme. This is the way she's describing it. She's like, it's literally 5 minutes, so I don't understand why you didn't wait. Well, it's literally 5 minutes. I don't understand why your ass cares. If it's not a long time to wait, then why doesn't your ass just wait? Why are you so mad? You said it yourself. Isn't the whole point is that you just get on before other people? You still got on before the other 250 people in coach. Why are you making your life hard for no reason? Anyway, I think I've seen him use his military ID for a discount one time in the entire time I've known him. Maybe his ass just needed a 5-minute break, honestly. And I feel like maybe after reading this post, there's some justification for that. Anyway, I accept that I'm being a huge asshole. I should have picked my battles and not started an argument over something so petty and small. I will be giving him a big apology this morning. Okay, well, it's character development. I don't even want to read this one. Like, obviously, the posts... yeah. You say you're a seasoned traveler. Why are you so bothered he left your side for a few minutes? What's he going to do? Steal a Coke from the galley before you get on a plane? It's true. What can you do? This post will probably make me unpopular. This is the Reddit classic. I'll probably get downvotes for this. 32,000 upvotes. Okay, yes. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but maybe ketamine. What is this post? I can't even read this. Am I the asshole for crashing